Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for Oodles of Owls. Who here likes owls? Who thinks owls are so cool? I definitely think owls are cool. What kind of noise does an owl make? Hoo, hoo. Can everybody try doing that? Hoo. Owls are such interesting, fascinating animals. Did you know that they live in barns, trees, old buildings, and tunnels? Here's another fun fact. Owls grab their prey, right? The little animals that they eat, with their sharp claws. They pick them up and they take them to a tree somewhere and they gobble them down. But owls aren't all violent and scary looking with their necks that turn all the way around. They're really cute. Look at this owl. That is a snow owl. And we are going to read about them in Fly, Chick, Fly by Gene Willis and Tony Ross. In the middle of the wood, there was an oak tree. In the middle of the oak tree, there was a hole. In the middle of the hole, there was a nest. In the middle of the nest, there were 3 eggs. In the middle of the eggs, there was an owl. She sat on the eggs all day and night. For 30 days and 30 nights, every dawn, every dusk, Father Owl went hunting to feed Mother Owl. And look, they're living in a tree. And look, he's got what does he have in his beak? Looks like a mouse, right? When the blossom was in bud, the first chick hatched. When the blossom was open, the second chick hatched. When the blossom fell, the third chick hatched. Look at them. "10 times a day, Father Owl went hunting. 10 times a day, Mother Owl fed the chicks. The chicks grew and grew." When the blackberries were green, the first chick tried to fly. She flapped, she flipped, she flopped, but then she flew. When the blackberries were ripe, the second chick tried to fly. He flapped, he flipped, he flopped, then he flew too. The blackberries had gone. The leaves were turning brown, but the last chick was still in the nest. "Fly," said Mother Owl. "Not I," said the last chick. She would not even try. Oh. I wonder what will happen. "You must fly," said her mother. "You must fly," said her father. "Why?" said the last chick. "If I fly, the crow might get me. If I fly, the rain might wet me. If I fly, a train might hit me. My sister flew and never came back. Why would I want to fly?" "You belong in the sky," said her mother. "Your sister is at home in the old elm tree. Fly, little chick, just try." The last chick clung to the end of a branch. She flapped, she flipped, she flopped. Oh, she doesn't want to let go. And hopped back into the nest. "That time to go," said Father Owl. But the last little chick cried, "No, no, no. My brother flew and never came back. Was he eaten by a crow or killed on the track? Why would I want to fly? You belong in the sky, said her father. Your brother is at home in the old birch tree. Fly, little chick, just try. So the last chick left the nest. She crept to the end of the branch, and this time, what do you think happens? You think she flies, or do you think she doesn't try? She flew! Snow came, crow came, spring came, but what became of this last chick? What do you think? In the wood, there is a beech tree. In the middle of the beech tree, there is a hole. In the middle of the hole, there is a nest. In the middle of the nest, there is an owl. She was the first chick to fly, but she is glad she flew because here is her first chick. Yay! Wasn't that awesome? I love that story. I love how she learns to face her fears and fly. I got another owl fact for you. Are you ready? Owls camouflage themselves in the trees, right? So they blend in and hide in the trees. Just like you saw that owl hide in the darkness of the inside of a tree. Very cool. Here, one more. Owls can't digest bones, fur, or feathers, so they spit it out. Oh my. We spit things out that we don't like, but that is too weird. Very, very strange creatures. So I have a song. This is fun. And we're gonna do different movements for each line. I know you know London Bridge, but what about like an owl? You ready? Flap your wings and fly around, fly around, fly around. Flap your wings and fly around, just like an owl. You ready for this one? We're not gonna flap our wings now. We're going to open our eyes big and wide, big and wide, big and wide. Open our eyes big and wide, just like an owl. Turn your head and say, ready? Turn your head and say, hoo, 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 hoo. Turn your head and say, hoo, 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 just like an owl. Ready for this one? We're gonna get up for this one. Land on the ground and hop along, hop along, hop along. Land on the ground and hop along, just like an owl. Woo! Woo, woo! Good job, everyone. All right. So how about we read one more and we'll go on to our craft. This is Owl Moon by Jane Yolen. It was late one winter night, long past my bedtime, when Pa and I went owling. Does anyone know what owling is? It's when you go and see if you could find any owls in the trees. There was no wind. The trees stood still as giant statues, and the moon was so bright the sky seemed to shine. Somewhere behind us a train whistle blew, long and low, like a sad, Sad song. Aw. I could hear it through the woolen cap Pa had pulled down over my ears. A farm dog answered the train, and then a second dog joined in. They sang out trains and dogs for a real long time, and then their voices faded away. It was as quiet as a dream. We walked on toward the woods, Pa and I. Our feet crunched over the crisp snow, and little gray footprints followed us. Pa made a long shadow, but mine was short and round. I had to run after him every now and then to keep up, and my short, round shadow bumped after me. But I never called out. If you go owling, you have to be quiet. That's what Pa always says. I had been waiting to go owling with Pa for a long, long time. We reached the line of pine trees, black and pointy against the sky, and Pa held up his hand. I stopped right where I waited. He looked up, as if searching the stars, as if reading a map up there. The moon made his face into a silver mask. Then he called, "Hoo, hoo, 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 hoo," the sound of a great horned owl. "Hoo, hoo, 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 hoo." And then he called out, and then again. After each call, he was silent, and for a moment we both listened. But there was no answer. Pa shrugged, and I shrugged. I was not disappointed. My brothers all said sometimes there's an owl, and sometimes there isn't. We walked on. I could feel the cold, as if someone's icy hand was palmed down on my back, and my nose and the tops of my cheeks felt cold and hot at the same time. But I never said a word. If you go owling, you have to be quiet and make your own heat. We went into the woods. The shadows were the blackest things I had ever seen. They stained the white snow. My mouth felt furry, for the scarf over it was wet and warm. I didn't ask what kinds of things hide behind black trees in the middle of the night. When you go owling, you have to be brave. Then we came to a clearing in the dark woods. The moon was high above us. It seemed to fit exactly over the center of the clearing, and the snow below it was whiter than the milk in a cereal bowl. Ooh, what a good description. Snow and milk. I sighed, and Pa held up his hand at the sound. I put my mittens over the scarf, over my mouth, and listened hard. And then Pa called, "Hoo, hoo, 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 hoo. Hoo, 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 hoo." I listened, and I looked so hard my ears hurt, and my ears got cloudy with the cold. Pa raised his face to call out again, but before he could open his mouth, an echo came threading its way through the trees. "Hoo, hoo, 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 hoo." Pa almost smiled. Then he called back, "Hoo, hoo, 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 hoo," just as if he and the owl were talking about supper, or about the woods, or the moon, or the cold. I took my mitten of the scarf off my mouth, and I almost smiled too. The owl's call came closer from high up in the trees on the edge of the meadow. Nothing in the meadow moved. All of a sudden, An owl shadow, part of the big tree shadow, lifted off and flew right over us. We watched silently with heat in our mouths, the heat of all those words we had not spoken. The shadow hooted again. Whoa! Pa turned on his big flashlight and caught the owl just as it was landing on a branch. Look at that owl. That is amazing. Look how wide they are. Look at him. For 1 minute, 3 minutes, maybe even 100 minutes, we stared at one another. Then the owl pumped its great wings and lifted off the branch like a shadow without sound. It flew back into the forest. Time to go home, Pa said to me. I knew then I could talk. I could even laugh out loud. But I was a shadow as we walked home. When you go owling, you don't need words or warm or anything but hope. That's what Pa says. The kind of hope that flies on silent wings under a shining owl moon. Good story, right? Has a nice, interesting vibe to it, interesting feeling. Okay, so now we are going to make our very own owl friend, and I will show you how. So tune in next. All right, so to start with our owl, we just need our 2 pieces of brown paper that we are going to rip up so that we can make sort of an owl-y shape, and I'll show you how to do that. And that's the best part. You don't need a scissor here. You just take a few rips and you rip up, right? So I would actually do bigger rips, like that, right? So we'll start with that. And something else I want to show you that'll give the owl some shape. You know, put it like this so you could see better. Is you could put a piece, put the you know, the edge of the paper as sort of like a way to show off some of its body, right? So we want its the bottom of it, right? So that'll be sort of the owl's curve there. I'll put a piece in the middle here, right? Make them full, make them nice and full, right? And we just, oh, also, his ears, watch this. For his ears, you could take the corners of the pages and rip them like that, right? So you have the corner here, and we'll say his ear will go up here, right? We'll give him another ear. And we can actually do the same thing for his wings, right? So I'll rip the other corner. Right, we'll say that's one of his wings. And that's one of his wings. Okay. And yeah, just fill in the rest as you see. Because once you have an idea about the parts of your owl and where some of the paper will go, then you can start gluing, right? So take your glue stick and just have a nice time, you know? I hope this craft is more relaxing than it is stressful. It's just kind of gluing pieces of paper. And you can always help your child. If you're an adult watching this, you can help them out in how they put down the paper. So yeah, I'm going to do this. And I'll return to you when my owl is complete, and I'll show you how to get its eyes and its beak and its legs. All right? All right, see you soon. Keep gluing. All right, welcome back. So now we want to give the owl some of its other features, right? Other parts of its face. And we can do that using let me put the glue stick away, using a pencil and scissors. For our black piece of paper you want to draw a circle. Small circle, not a huge circle. I know that's really, really hard to see, and it doesn't have to be perfect shape. And then draw another somewhat smaller circle, right? Small circle. So they're about the same size. And then cut. Cut, cut, cut. I'll cut one of them for you. But cut both of them. Pause the video if you have to. And I will show you the next step after. When you're done, I should say. All right, so we have our black. And now we have our yellow, right? That's the yellowiness of an owl's eyes, right? So we want the yellow to be a little bigger than the black, right? So we could use the black, we could trace around the black, right? Make sure you could see, there you go, you could see. And okay, so I use that to sort of make sure I have a circle, a yellow circle that's bigger than the black circle. And then we cut that. All right, so now we have one of our eyes, right? And if you're not happy with it, if you want the black to be smaller, well, guess what? You can cut the black circle to be smaller in size, right? If you want it bigger, you might have to start over. One eye, right? So then do the other eye. You can pause here, and then I'll show you how to do our beak and our legs, which is super easy and super fun. Okay? So what we want to do is draw like a little rectangle, a little straight rectangle going down, right? Like that. And your owl's legs could be any size you want. But I think the shape of a rectangle really helps. And just cut that out and do this twice. Sorry, we want two. All right. So get your two long little rectangles here, and you can pause while you cut that, and I'll show you the next part. All right, you ready for the next part? It's just a smaller rectangle, right? Because this, look about the size of that. That'll be its toes, right? So two each of these. So we want 4, right? So we want two of its legs and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In total, of its toes. Or its feet. Its talons, right? These are like the owl's talons. But I call them toes because it's funny. Okay, so finally, we needed to do its beak, right? And to do its beak, we can draw, watch this, a square, right? What shape is this beak? It's a diamond, but we can turn a square into a diamond. You ready? And it could be a little circle, little happy circle, like that. And now I'm going to cut that out. Okay, so we got our square, or is it a diamond, right? So we'll fold our diamond like that, one corner over the other corner. Fold, fold, fold. All right, and look, we have a beak. So we want to put the beak in the middle, right? We'll put its eyes in this area, and before you glue it, just make sure you're looking and you like it the way you're placing it. And then we'll put its legs here. We'll put its leg down there, and we'll get our feet on, and then we'll have our owl, right? So little bit of time gluing and cutting and making shapes. You'll have a really cool owl you can hang up on the fridge. All right, thank you so much for joining me, and tune in for next week's program.